This is lesson 1.2 on solving systems using matrices. And we kind of need a little bit of introduction on matrices. So here I've got a system of equations, and I have already taken the time to turn this into the exact same system, but written in a matrix format. So there's a few things to take note here. The coefficients of the x's and y's have been pulled out of this equation and put into this first matrix. And you should notice that a matrix is written with these square brackets around the numbers. So I've got the -4, the 9 in front of the x, that is a 1, and the -3. That goes in the first matrix. And part of matrix format, which this is just a minor detail, we put this little XY matrix here. It just means these are the unknowns, these are the answers that we're going to be looking for. But for now, we're just writing it in this format, and it's not a big deal. But then it equals these answers 9, -6, so that's in its own little matrix. Now, technically, what we need to do to solve this here is go to our calculator. So make sure your calculator's on and follow the buttons as I do them exactly. First thing, we're going to make our first matrix. So I'm going to make any matrix, press the green button located here, and then the very top center, the zoom button. You should now see this screen. The matrix that we're going to build has 2 rows and 2 columns. Typically it'll be 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 or 2 by 1 or 3 by 1. So, and we'll see how that works out. But for now, this is all good information, so we're just going to hit enter. Whoops, I'm sorry. I'm going to come down to OK and hit enter. And we have kind of a very similar little thing here, only I need to put my numbers in. So I'm going to put in the -4. You hit the right arrow key to go to the next spot. Hit the 9. Once again, hit the right arrow key to go to the next spot. It's going to loop back around. Hit the 1 and the -3. Okay. We've input one matrix into our calculator, but obviously this 9 and -6 are still pretty important, so we're going to get those in just a second. But part of the solving process that we just need to know, because that's the way the calculator does it, is after you put this first matrix in, immediately after, outside of the matrix here, you're going to push this x to the -1 button right here. And we should see that little -1 above our matrix there. And that has a specific meaning, but since we're not getting in that in-depth on matrices, it's really not important. We just need to know how to use it as a tool to solve it. So now we can put in our second matrix, the 9, -6. So once again, hit alpha, green button, and zoom. Only this time, we're not making a 2 by 2 matrix. When we look at this matrix has 2 rows. The 9 is a row, the -6 is a row, and it's in one column. So, as I said earlier, sometimes we have 2 by 2, sometimes we have 2 by 1. This second matrix, the column is always 1. So select column 1, hit enter, and then go down to OK and hit enter. Type in your numbers, and once your numbers are in, hit enter. And out comes a magnificent, magnificent thing. These are the answers. I didn't have to use elimination, substitution, or graphing. Just calculator solved it for me. So I want to write what we just did over here by hand. So I'm going to make that same little matrix again. -4, 9, 1, -3. So I want to show you kind of what by hand it's supposed to look like. Then this little inverse, that's what that's called, the -1, and then that 9, -6. When you do this in this way, then the answer is xy. And that's what we were looking for. We were looking for the x and the y. Not that this little format by hand is really at all important, because again, let me stress, the important thing was, did you do this on the calculator, and did you get those numbers? That's the answer. That's using the calculator to get the answer, and that's the point of this lesson here is today. So now I know that the x corresponds to the 9, the y corresponds to the 5, so my answer in ordered pair format is 9, 5. And that's solving one system of two equations with two variables. But you know what? When you're using the calculator, you could do really anything. I could go three systems, or three equations with three variables, which is what we'll practice doing next here. So let's take one, okay, and we'll do a similar thing here. Again, I just want to focus on the calculator skills, because that's what's important here. So we do need to write this as a matrix, and I'm going to do that by hand first, though, just so we have something to look at. We've got 4, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1. We've got 2, negative 4, 1, 2, negative 4, 1, and 5, negative 4, negative 5, 5, negative 4, negative 5. Okay. And then this would be x, y, z, and equals 24, 0, 12. Once again, this by hand business, not that important, but it's worth seeing so that you know how to write it by hand. But what is important is coming over here, and this time we're not making a 2 by 2 or 2 by 1. This is three equations with three variables. So I've got 1, 2, 3 rows, and I've got 3 columns. And so we change that to 3 by 3, hit enter, and okay, look, this matches how I wrote it by hand. That's why I want to write it by hand, so we can visually see that these things are matching up. And now I just need to type my numbers back in. So I got 4, 4, 1, 2, negative 4, 1, 5, negative 4, and negative 5. Especially with a 3 by 3, it's useful to just pause and double check your numbers real fast, because sometimes you can mistype a number. I see 4, 4, 1, 2, negative 4, 1, 5, negative 4, negative 5. Looks good. So I'm going to push that x to the negative 1, that inverse button again. Okay, it's got the little negative 1, so go again and make another matrix, but this time it's going to be 3 by 1. So go down to column, hit 1, or scroll to 1 and hit enter, then go down to OK and hit enter. And again, I should visually see that this matrix is the same kind of format as this one here. If it was going sideways or something like that, I would know I was doing it wrong and I'd have to retype it. So I'm going to put in my numbers, 24, 0, 12, whoops, not 11, 12, okay. Hit enter, and boom. That means that the answer to my problem here, quite simply, is just, wait, there's three numbers. How do I write this? You just go x, comma, y, comma, z. So 4, comma, 2, comma, 0. Or if it makes you feel any better, you could write them out individually and say x equals 4, y equals 2, and z equals 0. And there you have it.